Okay, friends, thanks for joining me for this hopefully brief little lament or maybe even a little bit of a rant about Jasper. This is especially made for my students at the King's University who, for the past 15 years, have been coming with me to Jasper to study mountain formation and some of the beautiful ecology of that region in a physical geography course, and also for Sable students and really anyone who is grieving today about a place that we love that we've in many ways lost over the last 2 days. I'm on Whidbey Island in Washington State to teach for Sable. I'm teaching international development and sustainability, which I've been teaching for 13 years. And heard about the evacuation just before I needed to give a talk, and got a little emotional in my talk, just thinking about everybody getting out. But I'm so glad that there was no human loss of life and that all the Jasperites are safe. And if you're a Jasperite and you're listening to this, just know as a fellow Albertan, my heart's with you, and we're just all lamenting and grieving what's happened. I just have a few pictures I want to share of this place that's so special to me and to my students and to my family. This is the last picture I took. We drove through Jasper on the way here a week and a half ago. I would have stopped and just, I mean, who knew that would be the last time? It's the only picture I took in that area. We're not quite to the town site, but it's just such a special, beautiful. I even say the word sacred place for so many of us. Two of the classes, just a few of my students on the right from one class, and then the larger class. Those are the students I had here just in May of 2023 and in the left 2022. And there's so many more of these. I have years and years of teaching this in September and in the spring, and going to these places again and again and again, staying in the Jasper hostel, staying in for the last few years we've been staying in the churches downtown, the Anglican Church and also the Jasper United Church, and just doing a deep dive in the town site in the evenings while we study the place around it. And a very special and important place for my wife and I also. This is obviously me during COVID with my COVID geared. Jasper's where we went to hide. It was our place of solace. It was our place of sanity in those crazy days. And Jasper helped us to get through that time. The last time I went there to camp, that's our camper van, and went with my son Brendan and daughter Tessa. And this is Jenny, who is a homestay student that stayed with us this year. This was our introduction to her of our favorite place on the planet. And you can see on the left, this was the path that we took on a long hike. We left the camper at the campground and walked from the campground all the way around. This area here is the fort hike. So we actually went up on top of that fort mountain. You'll see a picture of that in a minute, and then walked all the way around. And my daughter fell in love with mosses right at this spot here. It's just such an amazing place. And then down into the town site where we just walked by countless elk. I have hundreds of pictures from just this one hike that I'm not going to share with you, but just such a beautiful place. This was when we stopped on Fort Mountain and just looked at the town site, and my kids, children, my grandkids, my great grandchildren will see a different Jasper. Jasper will be rebuilt, I have no doubt, but it's always going to be different. And that's what we're lamenting. And I hope these mosses somehow made it through. I have no idea. They're on the north side of that Fort Mountain, and I know the fire came right up through this area that we are hiking. But such beautiful landscapes. They'll all come back. Ecologies are made to come back, but we're grieving today, and we've been coming here all life. This is Tessa as a young child trudging around the town site of Jasper, just enjoying it. I hope I can get this to play. This is from a field trip in the fall of 2021. We were there in September. I had a van full of environmental studies students and other students taking physical geography for credit, for their science credit, and just taking in this majestic moment of these two young bull elk. I think they're just playing around. They're not fighting over the females here, but what an incredible special place. As I tried to go to sleep last night, I was thinking of these elk. I was thinking of these herds, knowing that the humans were out, just hoping and praying and wondering, and I hope they did get out. I got this email just a few minutes ago. It was devastating to read this. I'm an Anglican, and this is the incredible St. Mary and St. George Anglican Church that was destroyed. And this video, it's so hard to watch. This just came around a few minutes ago, and I appreciate all who've shared it, of what the town site is right now. And it just, you can't watch this without grieving. You can't, even if you've never been to Jasper, like how can you not Oh, it's unfathomable. This is the street the church was on, right in that same neighborhood. This is the central part of a core of an amazing community that has been fundamental to our social culture in Alberta long before I got here 17 years ago. Such an important place, such a sacred place. I've been thinking about environmental lament for a long time. This lament is, I wanted to record this because it's not the first time I've wept over a place or over a species. Phil Menge is a professor of English at King's. He and I have been working on an edited volume of poetry. Kind of weird. Mike Ferber's doing poetry, but Phil's the poetry guy. But we're looking at what do we do in times like this? How do we process this kind of grief? And there's new words for it now that are coming up, solastalgia and others that I mean, new terminologies to just help us to think about this sense of grief. And the book is framed around this idea from Walter Brueggemann. Brueggemann has written a lot about the Book of Lamentations, and he's connected ideology to denial, to grief and to hope. And basically, the idea is that grief and lament can become a mechanism for ideological change. Lament and grief becomes a moment where we look at the way the world is and we see it as it is, not as we think about the way that it should be. And for those of us who are Albertans, I mean, I'm wearing an Oilers hat. If you saw that at the beginning, like our way of being is rooted around fossil fuels, and yet we know climate change is a big part of why Jasper is no longer here. And this moment of lament, grieving and lamenting is an opportunity for us to take a step back and start thinking about the ideologies upon which we establish our ways of being. This will be in our book. We're just still working with the publisher. It'll be a little while till it's out. But I thought this little bit from the book, mostly in the words of Brueggemann, could speak to some of us today as we're grieving and processing what happened. Walter Brueggemann's 3 significant points highlighted in the title of his volume end with hope. He expounds how ideologies supported by denial can be broken by reality associated with grief and disorientation, opening a way for a new orientation as hope overrides despair. Ideology provides a false consciousness, but grief-stricken lament can become a powerful tool to expose ideological disconnects between current environmental facts on the ground and that false safety net. Our prophetic task, in the words of Brueggemann, amid a culture of denial, is to embrace, model, and practice grief in order that the real losses of our lives can be acknowledged. The purpose of such a performance of sadness is so the things we deeply treasure among us and have lost may be fully relinquished. And so today, as I was just grieving here on this ridiculously beautiful place on Whidbey, it's my day off. The students are with other faculty, and I was just kind of grieving on my own and processing all of this stuff, and just wanted to take a few minutes to record this, especially for my students. We've talked about this in classes, but maybe it's helpful to others as well. I listened to Danielle Smith's speech, which she gave a short time ago. It was beautiful, and I doubt Danielle Smith ever hears this, but if she does, Danielle, we hear your lament. We all feel it. We know it as Albertans. We're grieving today. And I hope you can also see this opportunity to end some of the denial of how the way that we're living is impacting Alberta, but is also impacting the rest of the world. We're suffering today in Jasper, but those who especially suffer from climate change are the poorest of the poor all around the world. So we're getting a taste of it, but this is being replicated all over the place, everywhere. And we right now, in this moment, as we're grieving, as we're lamenting, have an opportunity for those scales to fall off of our eyes and for us to see things as they are, and for us to make choices that can lead toward a better future, a more hopeful future, where we don't lose places like Jasper. Thank you for listening to my lament, and feel free to share this.